Welcome everyone to our channel where today we are going to explore one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare coins, a story that captures the imagination of collectors and investors alike, the story of the 1982 D1 penny USA coin that has been valued at an astounding $0.95 million, making it nearly 1,000,000 times more valuable than its simple face value of 1 cent. And what makes this coin so special and so different from the billions of other pennies that circulate in pockets, drawers, and jars all across America is not just its age or the year it was minted but the incredible and rare set of errors, mistakes, and mint mark anomalies that surround it, creating a perfect storm of rarity, demand, and historic significance. And as we dive into this deep exploration, we will cover not only the background of the coin itself but also the broader history of the penny, the reasons why errors occur in the minting process, the various types of mistakes that have been documented in coins like this, the role of collectors and auction houses in driving up the value, and the many possibilities and theories that explain why such a humble coin could command such an extraordinary price. So let us begin by reflecting on the year 1982, a year of transition for the penny in the United States, because it was during this time that the composition of the penny changed from 95% copper and 5% zinc to a primarily zinc coin with a thin copper plating. This change was made for economic reasons because the value of copper had risen to the point where producing a penny with so much copper was no longer cost-effective, and as a result the mint decided to switch to the cheaper zinc-based version. However, because this change was implemented mid-year in 1982, both copper and zinc pennies were struck that year, creating a unique situation in which collectors could find two very different kinds of pennies with the same date, and adding to the complexity. The 1982 penny also came in multiple variations including large date and small date formats, as well as coins minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, which is where the D mint mark comes from. Now when you combine all these factors, the year of transition, multiple design types, and minting locations, you already have a coin that stands out in numismatic history. But in the case of the 1982 D penny that sold for nearly $1 million, there was something even more extraordinary at play. Something that pushed it far beyond the usual realm of interesting variations into the elite category of error coins worth staggering sums of money, and that something was a minting error so rare and so unique that it captured the attention of experts and collectors worldwide. The 1982 D penny in question was mistakenly struck in bronze rather than zinc, meaning that while most 1982 D pennies should have been produced with the new zinc composition, this particular coin was struck using the older bronze alloy, an error that should not have happened at all because by that time the Denver Mint was supposed to be using the zinc planchets exclusively, but somehow, through a mix-up in planchet supply or oversight at the mint, a few bronze blanks remained and were used, producing a handful of coins that were technically never meant to exist. And this kind of minting error is extremely rare because the mint has strict processes in place to prevent old planchets from mixing with new ones. Yet history has shown us that mistakes do happen, and when they do, they create coins like this one that defy logic and end up being worth fortunes. So when you look at this 1982 D penny, it appears at first glance just like any other penny from that year, with the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, but the weight and composition tell a different story, because instead of weighing 2.5 grams like a zinc penny, it weighs 3.1 grams like a traditional copper penny. And this difference in weight is one of the main giveaways that something unusual is going on, and once collectors and graders confirm that the coin is indeed struck on a bronze planchet with a Denver Mint mark, the value skyrockets. As we have seen in other rare coin sales, demand and rarity go hand in hand, and the fewer the number of surviving examples, the higher the price. In this case, only a tiny number of 1982 D bronze pennies have ever been discovered, making them among the rarest of all Lincoln cents. And that scarcity explains why this coin could command such a jaw-dropping price at auction. But beyond the composition error itself, there are other factors that add layers of intrigue to the story, such as the possibility of die variations, striking quality, or other subtle minting anomalies that can make a coin even more distinctive. And when professional grading services like PCGS or NGC certify such a coin, assigning it a high grade like MS65 or higher, the desirability increases exponentially because collectors not only want the rarity of the error but also the perfection of a well-preserved example, and this interplay between error, condition, and certification is a major driver of value in the coin market. So why do collectors care so much about mint errors? After all, one might think that a mistake would make a coin less desirable. But in numismatics it is often the opposite, because errors represent uniqueness and unpredictability. They are anomalies in a world that usually values precision and uniformity, and this uniqueness excites collectors who see themselves as owning a piece of history that cannot be replicated. And in the case of the 1982 D bronze penny, the era is not only rare but also tied to a historically significant transition year, which makes it doubly important. And it is this perfect storm of factors that elevates the coin's value to nearly $1 million. Now let's consider the broader implications of this story, because it is not just about one coin but about the thrill of discovery, the idea that hidden treasures can exist in plain sight, perhaps sitting unnoticed in a change jar, a piggy bank, or a drawer full of old coins. And stories like this inspire countless people to start searching their own coins, hoping to stumble upon a rare and valuable era. This sense of adventure and possibility fuels the hobby of coin collecting and keeps it alive generation after generation. And while the odds of finding a coin as rare as the 1982 D bronze penny are astronomically small, the very possibility makes it exciting, and the stories of lucky finds continue to emerge, reminding us that not all treasures are buried deep underground. Some are hiding in our everyday lives, waiting to be discovered, and this makes coin collecting not just a hobby but a form of modern treasure hunting. And the market responds to this enthusiasm, with auction houses promoting rare finds, collectors bidding furiously to secure them, and prices soaring into the stratosphere when truly unique coins appear. So when we reflect on the value of this penny, we see not only a mistake in the mint but also a symbol of rarity, history, and the human desire to own something truly one of a kind. And it is this combination that makes the 1982 D penny worth $0.95 million, transforming an ordinary cent into a world-class collectible. And as we continue to discuss this coin, it is important to acknowledge the role of professional grading and authentication, because with values this high, counterfeits and fakes are always a risk, and only through careful testing, weighing, and examination under expert eyes can such coins be validated, giving collectors confidence in their purchases. So this is not just a story about rarity but also about trust, expertise, and the systems that support the coin collecting community, from the mint itself to grading companies to auction houses and collectors, all playing their part in making such coins valuable. And while some may scoff at the idea of paying nearly $1 million for a penny, for serious collectors it makes perfect sense, because in the world of numismatics, rarity and history often outweigh face value, and objects like this become cultural artifacts as much as they are investments. So the 1982 D bronze penny is more than just a coin, it is a reminder of human error, the unpredictability of history, and the power of collectors to assign value to objects based on rarity and desire. And with all of these elements combined, it is no wonder that this tiny piece of copper has been transformed into a treasure worth nearly $1 million, a symbol of how the smallest objects can hold the greatest value. And as we wrap up our exploration today, I hope this journey has inspired you to look more closely at the coins you come across, to appreciate the stories they tell, and to recognize that sometimes even a penny can be priceless when it carries with it the weight of history, era, and rarity that captivates the world. Today's fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins, where small pieces of metal that we often overlook in our daily lives can sometimes carry stories, mysteries, and hidden treasures worth astonishing amounts of money. And today we will uncover the captivating tale of the 1983 D1 penny USA coin that has taken the numismatic community by storm and surprised collectors around the world, because although its face value is just a humble 1 cent, there are rare versions of this penny with unique errors and minting mistakes that have sold for extraordinary amounts, with one known example valued at a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. So let us carefully explore why such a seemingly ordinary coin could hold such incredible value, what makes it so rare, the minting history behind it, the possible errors that occurred during production, and why collectors are willing to pay life-changing sums to own a piece of this fascinating history. And to understand this fully, we must first remember that in 1982 the US Mint made a major transition by changing the composition of pennies from mostly copper to a primarily zinc core with a thin copper coating. And this transition was not without issues, because striking differences in weight and composition occurred, leading to certain transitional error coins being minted accidentally and escaping into circulation. And the 1983 pennies fall right into the aftermath of this transition, meaning that there are rare 1983 coins struck on the wrong planchets or containing other mistakes which make them extraordinarily valuable. And when we specifically look at the 1983 D penny, the one struck at the Denver Mint, we discover that most of these coins were made in zinc with copper plating as intended, but some rare pieces exist that appear to have been struck on leftover copper planchets from 1982, creating a transitional error. And those pennies, when weighed correctly, show a much higher weight of 3.11 grams rather than the normal 2.5 grams expected from zinc pennies, making them extremely rare finds, and collectors go crazy for them because very few were produced, if any, by mistake, and those surviving specimens command unbelievable auction prices. And another aspect that makes the 1983 D penny special is the existence of double die errors, in which the coin design was accidentally imprinted twice during the minting process but slightly off alignment, creating visible doubling especially on the lettering such as Liberty or In God We Trust, and such double die errors are among the most sought after mistakes by collectors, with certain 1983 double die pennies selling for thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on their condition. And when we add the possibility of mint mark misplacements or anomalies in the D mark which designates the Denver Mint, the coin's collectability and rarity skyrocket even further, and one can only imagine how collectors would feel discovering such an error coin in a handful of loose change or tucked away in an old jar of pennies, transforming what appears to be a simple 1-cent piece into a millionaire's treasure. And this is exactly what makes the 1983 D penny worth up to $1.2 million in certain extraordinary cases, because the coin's history, rarity, error factors, and high demand converge to create the perfect storm of numismatic value. And we must also consider that condition plays a huge role, because coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC that achieve high mint state or even proof-like grades command far higher prices, as collectors value the preservation of details, luster, and absence of wear. So a 1983 D penny with the right error and in pristine condition is one of the ultimate holy grails of US coinage. And part of the appeal also lies in the mystery and excitement of hunting for such coins, because millions of 1983 D pennies were produced and circulated, meaning that hidden among them could still be undiscovered rarities sitting in someone's change drawer, coin jar, or inherited collection, and this fuels the passion of collectors worldwide who eagerly search rolls of pennies from banks or old boxes in hopes of striking it rich. And the fascinating thing about error coins like the 1983 D penny is that their value does not come from intrinsic metal worth but from historical quirks, production accidents, and rarity created by chance, making them true treasures of circumstance. And the story of the 1983 D penny has captured imaginations far beyond numismatics, because it shows that sometimes the most ordinary objects can carry extraordinary stories, that a coin passed through countless hands in everyday transactions could one day be revealed as a $1 million rarity, and the idea that errors and imperfections rather than perfection can make something so valuable resonates deeply with collectors and the public alike. And when examining why collectors prize this coin, we see that it represents not just a monetary investment but also a tangible link to American history, the minting process, and the unpredictable quirks of human technology. For in 1983 the US Mint was striving for uniformity and efficiency but ended up creating accidental rarities that have become legendary today, and this duality of mass production versus uniqueness makes the coin even more compelling. And when numismatic experts analyze the 1983 D penny, they emphasize the importance of weight, visual inspection, and professional grading, because counterfeits do exist, and only verified examples command the top prices. But for those who own genuine errors, the rewards are immense, as auctions have repeatedly shown skyrocketing bids for rare 1983 errors, with collectors driven by both passion and the thrill of owning a piece of numismatic legend. And if we step back and think about it, the journey of the 1983 D penny from a simple cent to $1 million artifact reflects larger truths about collecting and human fascination with rarity, because humans have always valued the scarce, the unusual, and the flawed, seeing in them a reflection of uniqueness and history. And so the 1983 D penny stands as a shining example of how the smallest and most overlooked objects can carry life-changing worth, how errors can turn into treasures, and how history hides in plain sight, waiting for the right eyes to notice. And as we conclude this journey through the story of the 1983 D penny, it is clear that while most pennies remain just 1 cent, a select few hold extraordinary value because of transitional errors, double dies, mint mark anomalies, and pristine condition, elevating them from pocket change to prized treasures worth up to $1.2 million. And the excitement surrounding these coins continues to inspire collectors and treasure hunters everywhere to look more closely at the change in their pockets, to examine every detail of date, mint mark, and design, and to keep alive the hope that one day they might stumble upon the ultimate discovery, the 1983 D penny that proves once and for all that sometimes the smallest things in life can carry the greatest value. where today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and in particular the story of the 1998 D1 penny USA coin, a coin that on the surface appears to be just an ordinary Lincoln cent but has astonished collectors, experts, and coin enthusiasts across the globe because of its extraordinary value that has reached nearly $0.76 million. A staggering number when compared to its humble face value of just 1 cent, and the reason behind this mind-blowing worth lies not in its metallic composition or its design alone but in the incredible combination of minting errors, mistakes, and rare circumstances that make it one of the most sought-after modern-era pennies. So stay with me as we unfold the mystery, history, and possibilities surrounding this remarkable coin, because when we think of coins minted in the late 20th century, we usually assume they are too common and too modern to carry significant value, yet the 1998 D penny breaks this assumption in the most spectacular way and proves that even coins from relatively recent years can harbor secrets worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, to understand this properly, we must start by revisiting the context in which this penny was struck. The Denver Mint in 1998 was producing billions of Lincoln cents as part of regular circulation, using copper-plated zinc blanks, the same composition adopted after 1982 when copper cents were phased out to save costs, so the 1998 D penny in its usual form should not be considered anything special. It weighs about 2.5 grams, has a diameter of 19 millimeters, and features the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse along with the mint mark D below the date, and on the reverse side the Lincoln Memorial design, all of which were standard features at the time. However, what separates the rare and valuable examples from the ordinary billions lies in the realm of minting errors, production anomalies, and striking mistakes, each of which can elevate a simple penny into the realm of extreme rarity and collectible demand. One of the most significant aspects collectors look for in these 1998 D pennies are double die errors, where the design elements such as Lincoln's profile, inscriptions like Liberty or In God We Trust, or even the date itself appear to be doubled due to misalignment during the die creation process. This doubling can vary in intensity from minor and barely visible under magnification to extremely strong where the naked eye can detect the distinct doubling, and in some of the most desirable 1998 D pennies the doubled die obverse has been reported, causing major premiums in value. Similarly, another extraordinary feature that contributes to the astronomical worth of these coins is the possibility of a transitional error, where a coin is struck on the wrong planchette, meaning instead of being minted on the standard copper-plated zinc planchette, it might have been struck accidentally on a leftover copper planchette from pre-1982 or even on foreign planchets intended for another country's coinage, which would result in weight differences, color variations, and a highly unusual rarity. And since transitional errors are some of the rarest in the coin world, finding a 1998 D penny on such a planchette could make it an unbelievable treasure valued far beyond its normal worth. Then we must also consider the case of mint mark anomalies, since the mint mark is applied to the die before striking. Any misplacement, repunching, or unusual positioning of the D mint mark can create varieties that collectors obsess over, and when a 1998 D penny exhibits a repunched mint mark where the D appears doubled or shadowed, it is instantly more desirable. Furthermore, the concept of proof-like strikes and off-center errors also play an important role, because a 1998 D penny struck off-center by even 10 to 20% while still showing the complete date and mint mark can be worth thousands, and if such an off-center strike combines with a doubled die or a mint mark error, the rarity compounds exponentially, making the coin not just unusual but almost one of a kind. And as we analyze how such coins can reach valuations of $760,000, we need to recognize the role of the collector market, auctions and grading institutions such as PCGS and NGC, since a high-grade, uncirculated or mint state example with a significant error is where the true value skyrockets. Coin that grades MS67 or higher with strong error features becomes a trophy piece that wealthy collectors are willing to pay hundreds of thousands for, not because of its intrinsic metal but because of its rarity, historical significance, and uniqueness. Another fascinating possibility with the 1998 D penny involves the wide AM and close AM varieties in the reverse design. During the late 1990s, the mint was experimenting with minor design modifications intended for proof coins, but occasionally these design dies were used on circulation strikes by mistake, resulting in what are called wide AM or close AM reverses, where the spacing between the letters A and M in America on the reverse is noticeably different. Normally the circulation strike cents have a close AM while the proof strikes have a wide AM. But if a 1998 D circulation penny was mistakenly struck with a wide AM reverse die, It instantly becomes a rare and valuable variety. Collectors hunt these down obsessively, and when combined with high grades and other possible errors, the value becomes astronomical. So the 1998 D-penny is not just a simple coin but a platform where multiple error types, varieties, and anomalies can converge, each multiplying the rarity and desirability, and it is this convergence that explains how an otherwise ordinary penny could ever be appraised at $0.76 million. The idea that a coin minted in the billions could still contain hidden treasures speaks to the incredible complexity and occasional unpredictability of the minting process, and it also serves as a reminder for all of us that coins we often overlook in our change or coin jars may be hiding secrets of enormous worth. As we continue exploring this coin, we must also remember the human fascination with errors and mistakes, because in many fields mistakes are considered flaws, but in numismatics mistakes are celebrated, cherished, and valued beyond imagination. A minting error that escaped detection and entered circulation becomes a time capsule of imperfection that ironically achieves perfection in the eyes of collectors, and when we talk about the 1998 D-penny specifically, it embodies this irony perfectly. Minted in massive numbers, handled by millions of people, yet only a handful escaped with these spectacular errors that turn them into six-figure treasures, and this is why professional grading, authentication and provenance are so important. Because with such high values comes the risk of counterfeits and altered coins, so experts examine the tiniest details under magnification, weighing the coins to the hundredth of a gram, inspecting the metal composition, die characteristics, and strike qualities to confirm authenticity. Only then can a 1998 D-penny with such errors achieve the kind of record-breaking prices we hear about. And what makes this even more thrilling is the fact that many of these coins are still out there, possibly sitting unnoticed in someone's coin jar, piggy bank, or even in circulation, waiting to be discovered by a sharp-eyed individual who recognizes the double die, the wide AM reverse, the off-center strike, or the repunched mint mark, and that lucky finder could transform a penny into a life-changing fortune. So this story of the 1998 D-penny is not just about one coin but about the broader message that every coin in your pocket has the potential to hold history, mystery, and immense value. The fact that a coin worth 1 cent can through the quirks of minting become worth $750 million reminds us of the unpredictability of life and the hidden treasures that may lie in the most ordinary things. And so as we conclude this journey through the world of the 1998 D-penny, let us carry with us the excitement of searching, the curiosity to explore the details, and the inspiration that even the smallest, humblest objects can hold unimaginable worth. So keep your eyes open, check your change, and who knows, maybe the next 1998 D-penny you come across could be the legendary error coin worth $0.76 million and transform your destiny forever. Everyone, and thank you so much for joining today's video where we dive into one of the most fascinating and surprising stories in the world of coin collecting and numismatics, because today we will be discussing the 2000 D1 penny USA coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and even casual enthusiasts alike with its unbelievable value that has been reported to be worth around $0.786 million. Yes, you heard that right, nearly $800,000 for a coin that in circulation is only worth 1 cent, but because of its unique combination of minting errors, mistakes, and the mysterious details around its mint mark, it has transformed into a treasure that collectors dream about owning. And this is not just a simple exaggeration or a myth, rather it is an extraordinary example of how certain coins that appear ordinary in our pockets can become incredibly rare, sought after, and unimaginably valuable when they contain unusual characteristics, production flaws, or unique history that sets them apart from the millions of others produced in the same year. So let us go deep into the details of what makes the 2000 D-penny so different, how minting errors play a role in its value, what collectors look for, the possibilities behind its mistakes, and why such a small piece of copper-plated zinc can carry such weight in the world of numismatics. Because the more we explore the background, the more you will realize that coin collecting is not just about holding change but rather holding pieces of history, art, accidents, and secrets that end up telling a much larger story than we expect, starting with the fact that the 2000 D-penny comes from the Denver Mint, which in that year produced billions of pennies, meaning that at first glance nothing should have been particularly rare, yet within those billions a small number of coins have turned out to possess remarkable errors, one of the most important being mistruck mint marks where the D appears to be doubled, misplaced, or struck with unusual force, creating overlapping impressions that are immediately noticeable under magnification. And when numismatists see such doubling or repunched mint marks, they know immediately that the coin has jumped out of the ordinary into the realm of rarity. But that is not all, because along with mint mark issues, some examples of the 2000 penny have been found with planchette errors, meaning the blank piece of metal used to strike the coin was flawed even before stamping, such as improper alloy mix, uneven copper coating, or missing clad layers, and these mistakes result in off-color coins, uneven surfaces, and sometimes dramatic weight differences, all of which attract expert collectors who know how unusual such errors can be, and in extreme cases these mistakes make the coin appear so unique that it is effectively one of a kind, driving its value through the roof since collectors always crave the rarest examples of any series. Furthermore, misalignment during striking is another factor that has been reported in rare specimens of the 2000 penny, where the obverse and reverse do not line up correctly or where the design is partially missing due to off-center strikes, creating a strikingly unusual look that would never pass normal circulation standards but sometimes slip out into the public. And when people find them decades later, they realize they are holding a coin that no ordinary bank could replace, and it is this combination of factors, the mint mark anomalies, the planchette errors, the strike misalignments, and the unusual surface features that together push the 2000 penny into legendary status among coin enthusiasts. Now you might be wondering why a value of nearly $0.786 million has been associated with this coin, and the reason is that when such coins go up for auction, especially when certified by top grading companies like PCGS or NGC, collectors engage in bidding wars to secure these once in a lifetime pieces, and when the coin has been graded at the highest condition levels such as MS68 or MS69, combined with its error rarity, the final sale prices can skyrocket, shocking even experts in the field, because there is always someone willing to pay whatever it takes to complete their collection or secure a unique specimen before anyone else can. And in this way an ordinary penny transforms into an asset worth more than luxury cars, houses, or even gold bars of significant size, making it a living example of how the world of coin collecting operates in realms of rarity and passion rather than just metal value. So imagine holding in your hand a 2000 penny that might have slipped through the mint quality control decades ago, lived quietly in circulation, and then resurfaced later in pristine condition, revealing its doubled mint mark, off-color surface, or off-center strike. Suddenly the story of that coin changes forever, because not only is it a piece of American history, it is now an investment, a collectible, and a trophy all in one, and that is why collectors are so vigilant about checking even the most ordinary-looking coins, because you never know when you might come across such a rarity, and when stories like this come out they inspire thousands of people to take a second look at their jars of spare change, their childhood collections, or even the pennies they receive as change in everyday transactions, because history has proven time and again that valuable error coins can show up anywhere, hiding in plain sight, and those who pay attention have the chance to turn a penny into a fortune. Now let's take a closer look at the kind of errors that might be specifically present in the 2000 penny which elevate its status. First we have double die obverse, where letters like Liberty or In God We Trust appear double due to die misalignment, and even a minor doubling can be worth hundreds while strong doubling is worth thousands. And then we have die cracks or cuds, where pieces of the die break off and leave raised scars or blobs on the coin's surface, creating unique one-time patterns that essentially guarantee the coin's uniqueness, and collectors love them for that. And moving on, broad strike errors, where the collar that holds the coin during striking malfunctions, causing the coin to spread out larger than normal while still showing design features, again making it instantly recognizable and extremely collectible. And then off-metal strikes, where somehow the coin is accidentally struck on a blank intended for another denomination like a dime or foreign coin, which has happened in mint history before, and those are often valued in the hundreds of thousands on their own. So when you combine even one or two of these features into a coin as common as the 2000 penny, suddenly you have a recipe for astronomical value. And that is exactly what we see in the stories surrounding this coin, because the possibility of multiple overlapping errors makes it incredibly desirable. Now when we think about how such a coin ends up fetching $0.786 million, we must also consider the role of condition, because collectors use the Sheldon scale ranging from poor to perfect mint state, and when an error coin survives in top condition, showing full luster, sharp strike, and minimal contact marks, it becomes the perfect storm of rarity and beauty, and that is why auction houses highlight not only the error but Also the condition, knowing that bidders will fight aggressively to own it, and that is why the 2000D penny is such a talked about coin, because it combines minting mistake rarity with the possibility of high-grade survival, producing a coin whose legend continues to grow as more collectors become aware of it. And it is worth noting that the stories of such coins do not just impact hardcore numismatists but also ordinary people who might find hope or excitement in searching their own pocket. Change, sparking new generations of collectors and enthusiasts, and that keeps the hobby alive, showing that even in the digital age where money often exists only as numbers on a screen, the physical coin still holds magic, history, and value that transcends its face value. So as you can see, the story of the 2000D penny worth $0.786 million is not only about a rare piece of metal but about human fascination with the unusual, our love for collecting, our excitement in finding treasure, and our recognition that sometimes mistakes can create beauty and fortune. And if you are watching this video today, let this be an inspiration to pay closer attention to the coins that pass through your hands, to learn about mint marks, errors, doubling, and all the small details that transform the ordinary into the extraordinary, because who knows, you might just discover your own fortune hidden in plain sight, waiting for the right eye to notice, and when that happens, you will understand firsthand why the 2000D penny has become a symbol of the incredible potential locked within everyday objects that most people overlook, reminding us that even the smallest coin can carry the biggest story and the greatest value if fate and error decide to bless it with rarity.